Today we're looking at mod division in Scratch. If you go over to operators, and what we can scroll down here a little bit, and we have this mod tool. So in programming, this is actually a very, very useful tool for a couple things. One, well, first to explain, mod means a type of division that we're going to use in programming. Normally when we divide things in programming and coding, we look at the integer value, the whole number. Mod actually looks at the remainder. And we can use that information by looking at the remainder for a couple different things. We can find out if a number is divisible by a certain number. So let's say that you have the number 21 and you use 21 mod, and we're going to say that if it's divisible by 3. So if 21 is divided by 3, there's not going to be a remainder, right? It would go in 7 times, no remainder. And so we know that if that number mod 3, if there's no remainder, if there's 0 remainder, then it's going to be divisible by that number. Well, let's actually set this up and we can explain it a little bit better, hopefully. So we're going to go ahead and just drag out the space bar here. We're going to leave this off to the side for just a second. And we're going to go ahead and use the ask. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that answer out here too. So we're just going to say, give me a number. Okay, so we're going to collect that number that's going to be asked over here by our character, and then we're going to drag out an if-else. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in this. Let me make sure I got everything kind of going here. Oh, I need to go over here to operators one more thing, and we need to use the equal. Okay, so now if we take our mod and plug it in here, and we're going to make this 0. 0 is really what we're looking for these. And so we're going to say if the answer, and if it's mod 3, then we know that that number is divisible by 3. And we're going to go ahead and just put a couple looks in here, and we'll say divisible by 3. And we'll also put in not divisible. We'll just leave not divisible so they'll stand out a little bit better. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the space bar here. And we'll put 21 in. That'll be our first number. And it's divisible by 3. And let's actually lengthen this a little bit to 4 seconds just so we can see it on the screen a little better. So what this does is it takes the answer that we were given here, and we're going to divide that number by 3. But when we use mod, we're only going to look at the remainder. And if there is no remainder on there, then we know that that number is divisible by whatever number we choose. And we chose 3 for this, but it could be 7, 5, 2, 4, whatever we wanted to use. And if there's no remainder, then we know that that number that we entered here is going to be divisible by that number. Okay? We can also use this to determine even numbers or odd numbers. So for example, if I use mod 2, any number that I type in that's an even number will not have a remainder. Okay? Same thing if I were in, and if I wanted to, let's say if I want to do even numbers and I say the answer mod 2 is 0, well then I know that's an even number, or it's an odd number. And we can try this out, right? So let's go ahead, hit the space bar, and we'll do 6. It's an even number, right? Let's do that again. Let's do 5. It's an odd number. Okay, so this is a way we can, find if a number is even. We can use odd as well, because instead of saying we're going to mod 2 and if there is a remainder, well, then we know that that's going to be an odd number. And then this one obviously would be an even number. So if there is a remainder when we divide by 2, say we take the number 3 and we divide that number by 2, we're going to get a remainder of 1. And so then we know that that's an odd number. Same thing with 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Any odd number, if we divide by 2, there's going to be a remainder of 1. And so we can use that then to determine If we have an odd number, we can say 5 again, and it's an odd number now. Okay, and we'll go ahead and do that again. Let's do 125. It's an odd number because it's dividing it by 2 and there's a remainder of 1, and therefore we know that it's an odd number. So this is really what mod is used for, is to determine even and odd numbers. And we know that if we can use this as divisible, right? We can say that if they took this answer, we mod 2, we know that that number not only is even, but if there's no remainder, well, it's going to be divisible by 2, or 3, or 5, or 7, or whatever number we plug in there. It will say that it's divisible by that number as long as there's no remainder. The remainder is really the key part here. Okay? So this is how you use mod, used for finding divisible, find for even and odd. And hopefully that helps you with your coding. Good luck.